Well, good morning, everybody. I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to Somewhat Daily Tarot and Rune. It's the 16th day of July in 2018. It's a Monday. Not my favorite day, but we have to get out of here early today. We have to do a water sample. Our home is part of a 14-home community well. And my husband has been the system operator for it since about 1986. So he is back doing all the sampling. And we used to have a company come and do it, but when we found out how much they were charging us, we were like, oh no. And so now he's doing them again. So in a little while, he's got to go take a sample, and we've got to run it up to the lab for testing. We do that 4 times a year to make sure that our water is safe to drink. But he's a good guy. He's always the one when the power goes out and it blips off, no one might even notice it, unless you have a stove or something that shows a little power failure sign on it where the clock is. Sometimes that's the only way you know that your power blipped off during the day. Well, sometimes that's all it takes and the water goes off. So he's got to go out there. Fortunately, our property is right next to where the well and cistern are. So he has to run out there and turn it back on. So everyone's got water. Last year, we lost our well and it went dry. It was pumping sand. We live in an area where there's black sand down below, and we had to have a well put in, a new one drilled. That took 6 weeks just to get someone out here. They were so busy. And so this was basically a 3-month process from start to finish. Start to when the well was drilled, I should say. It wasn't finished after that because we had to, create a new cover for everything. And, but he was out there for almost 2 months of that time. He was out there every 30 minutes, turning things off and on. He'd go out there, turn it off, go out, go back 30 minutes later, turn it back on in an attempt to mimic what well drillers call developing a well. And basically you're trying to pull that water out of the ground. Well, sometimes he could go an hour and a half or 2 hours, but between having to go out there and do that. But, I don't know how Jerry kept the water flowing for us, but he did. And there isn't anyone else who would have had the will or the know-how or the desire even to do something like this, because he was out there from, 5 in the morning. He was up at 5 in the morning going out there, doing this, and just to make sure everybody had water, take a shower with. And then he'd be out there maybe till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. So for all that time, he got only just a couple of hours of sleep each night while all this was going on. And, unfortunately, no one in the group came over and helped him. So that was sad, to have this be all hands on deck and have him be the only one. Yeah, that was bad. But thank God for him, or thank goddess for him, because I don't know. Thank the goddess for him, because I don't know where we would be without him. Wells are expensive to put in, and even when there's 14 homes contributing, so they're expensive, and it's scary, to not have water. A lot of people around here, they've got livestock, and the gardens were going in at the time when it happened, and it was a little unnerving, but he did it, and all by himself. So yay, Jerry. So sometimes you just, he's just one of those guys, he knows everything. I don't know why, but he does. So there could not be a better witch's consort. Trust me on this. So that's why we've been married for 39 years. So anyhow, let's count 13 and see what we got for today. Well, we have, the eights are interesting. We have the Eight of Wands. Eights are very, very interesting. Wands is will and energy, and here you have 8 staffs or wands coming at you. So you got a lot of will going today. Now, an 8, numerologically, 8 is structure, and it's, let me be sure on this. I want to be sure. I always get messed up on 8s. It's basically it's balance, but it's a progression, and it's a progression in that type of balance, and it basically grows. You know, you've got 2, it's a multiple of 2. So 2 is balance, 4 is structure, 6 is a sacred layer of self. You're bringing in higher self. I think as you get going more into the higher multiples, you're talking about just taking that balance into cause and effect. So yeah. So when you're talking about the Eight of Wands, you've got a lot of effect here, don't you? You see the cause, which is will, excessive will, and you see the effect, which is all of this coming in on you. But it's basically telling you to move now, isn't it? Act. You know, there's no time to waste. You've got a lot of this is happening. You need to center, align, and know. You need to, this may be that you're blocking your own process, or it could be that it's coming in from other people. I think on Crowley's Thoth Tarot, that particular card shows energy exploding in all directions. This seems to be more coming at you. So, so in Crowley's version of it, it's almost like your own energy can explode in all directions. Here, this seems to be more that it's coming at you. And so what are either someone's doing something to you, or you've got a lot of burdens, or you've got a lot of things are going on, or this is being developed by you yourself. And so it's we have a high pollen today, so excuse me. Of course, I don't have my tea with me. This could mean that decisions are being made too swiftly, or that there's a sudden advancement of something going on as well. The will cards, the fire cards, are interesting because they can be really, they can be as out of control as, say, the swords can be, especially if you let ego inform that will. So you want to make sure that that doesn't happen today, because when ego informs, boy, oh, there's the room back. So let's see what the rune has to say. Is this something that's coming in us, coming at us, or is this something that's developing from us? I'm not sure what the pollen count is all about out there. It might be the juniper. We've got grasses blooming. Lots of different flowers are blooming. Usually it's juniper pollen that gets me, and of course I have juniper all around me. It's clear I'm going to have to do a cleansing tea this morning. Lots of nettle in it. Nettle's great for allergies, believe it or not. Lots of. This is Birkenau, this rune. And Birkenau is about the Great Mother. It's about the goddess within. It's about fertility. It's an earth rune. And so, but it's also about protection and motherhood. When you think of Birkenau, you think of the Earth Mother, and you think of how, you know, the mother protects her young and the mother protects the family. It's about healing. Clearly, I need to be healed here. You can chant Birkenau to feel secure and calm. It can bring new beginnings. So if it's talking about fertility, when it comes up, it might signal the impending birth of a child, pregnancy. It talks about what provides growth and beauty and bringing ideas to fruition. So if it's not about the birth of a child, it could be the birth of something. So when you see this, you know, are we birthing something positive, or is this, or are we too scattered, or too much coming in on us to be able to birth anything? Excuse me. Both Birkenau and the Eight of Wands talk about protection. So if we're going to take a protection slant to it, then it could indicate our responsibilities, couldn't it? Our responsibilities to the earth, our responsibilities to the self, our responsibilities to one another. So then this could then be responsibilities, couldn't it? We've got a lot of responsibilities that we're having to cope with and deal with. So we need to come to a place of calm. This just indicates a lot of something, you know? And so a lot is going on. So maybe what it's telling us is when there's so much going on around us, that we need to bring ourselves to the center to find a calm place within, and try to figure out, you know, what it is that we're trying to invoke here. You know, the Suit of Wands is fire, and it's about invoking the will. So if we're talking about bringing something into fruition, maybe we've just got a lot of ideas going on in our head, a lot of things that we're trying to come up with to bring something into fruition. So maybe that's what this is. It's hard to know for sure, without seeing how the day goes, unless we know that there's something, you know, already in Genesis for us, already something brewing that we're trying to accomplish. But the idea of Birkenau is to bring calm into the equation and to bring some peace. So perhaps that's what we're trying to do here, is to recognize that although this is happening at this moment, in order to process it and make sense of it, then we have to come to the center and invoke, you know, our Gaia energy, our Earth Mother energy with Birkenau, and find some kind of way to bring all of this will into balance so that those new ideas can come into fruition. You know, with a lot of willfulness going on, then and if it's coming from outside sources, then you're not going to accomplish much if you can't quiet the mind and allow all of that to really gel for you and to come to fruition. So yeah, try that for today. I need to go and make some tea and try to deal with all of this stuff in my throat, and my eyes are weepy and all of that. So if you suffer from allergies, you know, nettle is good. The tea that I'm going to probably go out and gather will be some dandelion. I'll do some chickweed, some cleavers, if there are still some. If not, I'll get some out of the jar. Horsetail also is a good one to add. Red clover is another one to add. A nice, if you're lucky enough to have hives like we do, then you might have some fresh honey that you can use to put in there, just to try to balance everything and get everything functioning properly. The thing about allergies is that our bodies become toxic, and the pollen shouldn't bother us. But because we don't eat right, or because we're not keeping our bodies cleansed, or the environment is affecting us. I mean, we've got chemtrails here everywhere all the time. It's rare when our skies are not covered with it. It gets in my hair. It's gross. It's disgusting. And Lord only knows what it's doing to our bodies. And so consequently, we have to develop an attitude of cleansing. Unfortunately, I don't know what else you do, but you've got to keep things flowing through the body. Otherwise, toxins build up, and then that's when we get allergies. So, you know, even if you just go out and grab some fresh dandelion and pour some, you know, crunch it up, break it up, put it in a cup, pour some hot water over it, strain it out and drink it, that's going to be a wonderful way to help combat allergies. But if you're lucky enough to have nettle, I actually had to get some seeds from Strictly Medicinal so that I could grow some here. It's so dry here, it's volcanic, so we don't have that stuff growing naturally. It may grow over by the river, maybe, I don't know. But it doesn't grow in my yard, so, or on my property, so I had to actually put some in. Otherwise, I have to buy it. It's just such a wonderful herb to use for any reason, to cleanse the liver, but that's the whole point. You want to keep everything flowing so that the body doesn't get toxic and so that you don't end up with allergies. We're just of things that are blooming because we have beehives, and so whatever, you know, we're working in, I might, you know, react to. So I like to stay nice and hydrated. I like to stay nice and cleansed. And so taking a walk around the yard can do just that. Assuming I can talk. But in any event, thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you tomorrow. Go check out the blogs at Stepping Aside at I'mSteppingAside.com. There's all kinds of fun things over there to look at. And, you know, it's Monday. Hopefully, the orange guy will get lost and not come home. So, blessed be.